Thank you, Shachar. Next, call upon Alex Lichtenstein. A lawyer, a rabbi, and a nightclub owner walk into a bar. Actually, hold that thought. When you ask most kids what they want to be when they grow up, they tend to say things like, I want to be a fireman. But I was a weird little kid because for some reason I had always wanted to be a lawyer. Good evening. My name is Alex Lichtenstein. I was born in Vienna, Austria, on my parents' way to America from the Ukraine, and I grew up in Brooklyn. Coming from the Soviet Union, my parents didn't really know anything about Judaism. But they wanted their son to learn about his Jewish heritage, so they sent me to Jewish schools. I became observant in 8th grade, completely Shomer Shabbos. My parents eventually followed suit a few years later. After graduating MTA high school, I went to yeshiva in Israel for a year, and I really loved it. I loved it so much, I was really interested in staying Shana Bet, and I was serious at the time about pursuing smicha. But for various reasons, it didn't work out. So I came back, and I started college, and I ended up getting really into nightlife. Initially, mostly for fun, but then very much professionally. Monetarily, thank God, I was very successful. Business was great during college. So much so, in fact, that when I was finishing undergrad, instead of going to law school, let alone getting smicha, I decided to open up a nightclub. It was actually a couple of blocks away from the shul. Suffice it to say, by that point, I was far from observant. And it wasn't because of any sort of philosophical or intellectual change. It just kind of happened. First, I started keeping my phone on during Shabbos to talk to my non-Jewish girlfriend at the time. Then, I kept it on for work. Then, I'd start going out for dinners. Before I knew it, Yom Kippur was the extent of my Jewish observance. Fast forward to about 18 months ago, and I get a call from Rav Khan about the shul in my neighborhood, Midtown, that I never knew existed. And I don't really know how many of you were coming here before they started doing renovations, but from my perspective, it really didn't exist. I must have passed by this building literally thousands of times, and never once did I realize there was a shul here. Great job, by the way, on the renovation so far. Anyway, Rav Khan asked me to come and help with Minyan. And even though I wouldn't normally come to a Minyan at that point in my life, I felt weird saying no when the rabbi had personally called. So I came for, I think it was Mincha. Why not, right? 10 minutes. Little did I know, it was the first step in my coming back to Yiddishkeit. Next thing I knew, I was being set up in a chavrusa with Yitzchak Friedman. This was really my first plunge back into learning, which I had always loved when I was younger. Then next thing I know, I'm putting on tefillin every day. And the little things just started adding up into big things. Ben Zoma, in the 4th parak of Pirkei Avos, says, Schar mitzvah mitzvah, uschar avera avera. The reward for a mitzvah is another mitzvah, and the reward for a sin is another sin. And I can attest to that on both counts. Things really do become habitual. When I first started keeping Shabbos in 8th grade, not turning on the TV was so hard. In college, when I stopped keeping things, it was the same. It was really, really hard for me to turn on my phone that first time. I felt terrible after I did it. But soon enough, it seemed impossible not to keep my phone on during Shabbos. So I really want to give my sincerest thanks and gratitude to Rav Khan, to Rav Friedman, for what they have done for me through this shul. Thanks to you and this shul, I've had the opportunity to start my way back by just going to Minyan that first time The reward was the chavrusa, and so on. And I plan to continue my chavrusa with Yitzchak and strengthen my learning in the months to come. I truly look forward to seeing this shul become the center for prayer and learning that you envision. A place where countless other Jews will be able to connect, or reconnect as I did, with their Judaism in the years to come.